say that it was done in an illegitimate way.
No,
and now
legitimate experimentation, legitimate trials.
Right, no, but the trial was done, it was approved, but it was illegitimate. Let's say Jean Bernard. I don't think anyone would have approved the way we did it.
Lung transplantation today, not highly successful, but the best there is.
Right.
Somebody go through it.
Yes, the answer is yes in both ways. Why? Because if now it is a proven fact and it saves life, the fact that it was done...
Okay, we'll continue. I want to let the questions... Let me get the questions on there. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. First question. Concisely. Dr. Steinberg, there's a question.
Yes.
Suggestions to legalize the purchase of organs have been made over the past 25 years consistently. Both in Israel it's been raised, both in America. UNOS, United Network of Organ Sharing, has NODA prohibits it. UNOS doesn't allow it. I just attended Harvard University Medical School on Thursday night. The same forum was going on there Thursday night. What's on in Israel in this respect? I know that in Israel recently they allowed you to reimburse someone for different expenses.
Okay. Are we getting closer, Dr. Steinberg, to selling kidneys legally in Israel?
I think yes.
Dr. Michael Friedlander was a great force. In the United States, we're chicken. The AMA was told, American Medical Association, to have a clinical trial of selling kidneys, and they have not even carried it to the trial because of the tremendous ethical, religious debate. I'll leave that alone.
But
yes.
it can't happen here unless the
Take
law
the mic,
is...
please.
It won't happen here unless the law is changed.
Right.
It is illegal here.
Thank you.
What I want to say is exactly about that. It's not a question, it's a statement. I just lived in India for 7.5 months, and I only worked with the poor. I was a volunteer nurse there. And I know for a fact all of the adults in my slum communities who live in slums, with the mothers, each of them, would sell for $1,000 US, which is more money than any of them people working in the would make in 8 years. And they would sell their kidney knowing they won't have pre-op care, knowing they might die, but if that means that their 10 children will have food on the table. People keep feeling bad for these communities, but you need to understand that a lot of these communities know what they're doing and they want to continue to do it.
Your point is that contrary to the picture painted by Dr. Steinberg, some of... No, you didn't let me finish the sentence, which is your right. But contrary to the picture, the sellers really know what they're getting into, and they're not necessarily being exploited. That's your point.
No, some yes, some no.
Some sellers know and are not being exploited.
Right.
The rebuttal, Dr. Steinberg.
Well, the studies show that those people who do it in this way are losing the money in a very short time, and they are not benefiting out of it. Maybe in your specific community it was different, but Hughes has shown time and again that those people who did it in this way bought a little liquor, a little television, and they lost their money and they lost their kidney.
I think that's an unfair statement. There is one study, one of what happened to the donors, and that was published in the Journal of the American...
There are several studies today.
Okay, we can debate amongst ourselves. We want to let the audience. Amy, a comment?
One other point. As a surgeon, I'll tell you that the risk of dying in donating a kidney is 3 in 10,000. So if we have 10,000 poor Indian women donating kidneys, and 3 of them die, and they're now not available for 10 children, that's a travesty.
But the mothers would rather that.
Okay.
They're not there to care for their 10 children. That's a travesty.
Question. You had a question?
Right.
But who cares for those children now?
Other questions?
Don't they have a right to take that? Don't they have a
Excuse
right?
me. Yes.
They're not human beings and they're not their own needs.
Hold it, please, through the chair.
The Halachic Donor Society is out there pretty much held in the Orthodox world. It's acceptable.
You want to answer? That's the Hod Society.
The Halachic Donor Society today has 77 Orthodox rabbis, many of them with black hats and white beards, who have our organ donor card. Because Steinberg had mentioned there's a legitimate halachic debate concerning the moment of death, we offer an option on the back of the card that allows people to choose between one of those 2 options, which makes it pretty much acceptable to most of the community looking at that particular issue.
To illustrate the point, this audience today, May 2005, your brother, sister, or child needs a kidney, is on dialysis and is exceptionally uncomfortable. You've got money in the bank. Now, would you buy a kidney? Yes, I would. Raise your hand, please. Do the count, Amy.
Many.
Keep them up, please. Make an actual count.
90%.
No, I want to quote this correctly.
Is the panel being included on this?
18.
18. No, I wouldn't. It's detestable, it's unethical, it's contemptible. Raise your hand.
1.
1. Okay, Dr. Steinberg, the rebuttal. You painted the picture of it being...
Excuse me, can I give my reason?
Of course, if you say them loudly, you can.
Renal transplant unit many years ago. And what has appalled is what I see as a tragedy of a family who sells a kidney, as this young lady pointed out, for what would be 10 years in income for them. I just can't comprehend that way of thinking. They are so desperate for money that they would have to do that. There must be a...
You're correct. You can't comprehend it. It's like the Democrats. It's like the Democrats who say, "I can't understand how anyone voted for Bush. Nobody I know voted for him." You said, "I can't understand." You're at the Robeson Kidney Center in the most elite part of town. I'll bet you live on the east side of Manhattan in a nice high-rise, and your apartment has tripled in value in the last 20 years. Quadrupled. Yes, please.
This past summer, I was a peripheral blood stem cell donor.
Loud so everyone can hear you.
This past summer, I was a bone marrow match peripheral blood stem cell donor. When I was talking to a lot of my friends or people about it, a lot of them asked me if my recipient was going to be Jewish. And of course, legally, I couldn't know that, and I didn't care. It was something.
You can't be heard. I'm sorry. There are people. Would you speak loud? Come up to the microphone if you want, or speak loud.
Past summer, I was bone marrow matched, and I was a peripheral blood stem cell donor. And when I was talking to a lot of people about it, they asked me if I knew if my recipient was going to be Jewish. And it was something that was very minimal risk, and I didn't really mind doing, and I was very happy to do. And I went through with it. Anyhow, legally, I was able to know. But is there a halachic difference between donating to a Jew or a non-Jew?
Is there a halachic difference between donating to a Jew or a non-Jew?
In practice, no.
That's another answer.
You want me one sentence?
Dr. Steinberg, to get a direct answer. Is there a difference?
There is a difference in preference. I mean, if you that you can donate to...
So there, all right, so that's...
Then, yeah, because you go for those who are closer to you. If you have a brother and a distant person, and you can donate your bone marrow, who would you donate it to?
How about an old Jew or a young Jew?
An old Jew. Yeah, preferable. Who would you prefer?
Wait, hold it, yes.
The question to Dr. Steinberg then is, would Dr. Steinberg then be opposed to directed live donations where I say I want to donate to someone because they're Jewish? So bringing someone from Kansas City and bringing them to Israel because...
Do you understand the question? A donor can say, I want to give the kidney to my brother, to my sister, to the man I work with, to somebody who is a pygmy from Dakota. And that's my preference. Is that allowed? I want to give it to a non-Jew or a Jew. That's my preference. I don't want to give it to a Jew or I want to give it to a Jew.
No, everyone who is donating can say, I want to do it one way or the other. Society...
No, they cannot.
Wait.
Because, Dr. Steinberg, in the United States, there was a great problem when white...
1 minute. I didn't finish my sentence.
Dr. Steinberg, you'll have an open answer. In the South, there were racists who said they would give their kidneys to whites but not to blacks.
Right. A person can say, I want to donate my organ to A and not to B. Society should decide if they agree to it or not. And I think that society should not agree to it. But that doesn't mean that I have to be forced to anyone just because society does so.
You had just said that a Jew could give preference to a Jew because it's part of the family. So if a person says they want to do that as a live donation, why would you be against it?
I'm not against it.
You're not against it?
No.
Final question.
Why should I be against it?
Yes, ma'am, you had a question.
I did. I really wanted to get some clarification between, once, the slippery slope and open door issue. For a long time, we didn't allow egg donation for profit. And then it became legal. We have all these ads. $5,000, $50, or whatever.